an omelet with much more personality, an omelet that will not be served in a highway service area. This is one of the video's last sentences. But how did I get to that? Well, I'll show you. A son of humble parents grew up to become a war pilot during Germany's hard years. His name was Robert Lee, and he was the founder of Volkswagen. How did he go from German Rambo to one of the best-known company founders, you may ask? Well, let me rephrase that. He didn't directly found Volkswagen, but he found an organization called the German Labor Front, which is basically a group of people who help each other out with, anything. This organization aimed to create a more productive and better social community, and in the early 30s, pretty much everything was a privilege, so they established new programs for workers, including sports, health, and entertainment. With the program named Strength Through Joy, which basically was like the rich godmother that takes you to all these fantastic places to have fun, but with a growth purpose, or at least that was the idea. Cars were a luxury in those times. Who would have thought that right now walking is actually the privilege? Or maybe not a privilege, but a very rare thing to do, if you ask me. I don't remember the last time I went somewhere without getting in a car. Do you know what is not a privilege but feels like one? ExpressVPN. If you check the link in the description, you'll get a free car. I'm kidding. Do you really think I have that much money? All I can offer is, virtual hug. No? No, you're lost. Okay. Go check this link anyway, please. Would you? And also, take that time to subscribe and like. Now that would be a virtual hug for me, though. You're amazing. Anyways, back to the story. One day, Hitler was like, "Oh, I will give you every German the opportunity to own an affordable car." And that's when Volkswagen came into place. The name literally means the people's car, which, makes total sense. This was going to be a cheap car made by a subsidized factory. But then the whole plan went south when the German Nazis invaded Poland and the factory had to start making war products. Yeah, kind of sad, right? But don't worry, things get better. Just wait for it. In 1934 is when Hitler decided to give it a shot and make his idea come true. So he talked to this other guy named Porsche and said, "Let's make the very first Volkswagen." They developed the Volkswagen Beetle, which is such an iconic car. That's when Volkswagen started to become more of a car company and less of a subsidized factory. The Volkswagen Type 1 was designed to be as simple as possible mechanically, so that there was less to go wrong. The air-cooled 25 HP 995C in motors proved especially effective in actions of the German Afrika Korps in Africa's desert heat. This was due to the built-in oil cooler and the superior performance of the flat 4-engine configuration. The suspension design used compact torsion bars instead of coil or leaf springs. The Beetle is nearly airtight and will float for a few minutes on water. So basically, this car was like a giant float. Then, a few years after, Hitler was like, "Well, I have a handful of cars who want one." But the war was already coming, so they had to put all the equipment in bunkers for protection, and that caused the pause of productions until war was over. Then an enterprising British officer, impressed with Volkswagen's military vehicles, saw the potential of these vehicles and was like, "I do say I want the new car's tooling to be moved to a British factory," and started producing them there. After the war, the VW factory in Wolfsburg, West Germany began producing the car in earnest, with the 1 millionth rolling off the production line in 1955. The British did not buy it at first, but the air-cooled Beetle went into production in Germany for British forces stationed there. After many years, the cheap, friendly, and easy-to-maintain Beetle became popular around the world, with licensed production also taking place in Brazil, Mexico, and Australia. And that's how we know the impact this car has had in general pop culture. The Beetle is like the Lady Gaga of cars. Now let's fast forward to 1974 when they started out the first Volkswagen Golf. 1974 is the year where Germany became football world champions for the second time, the Terracotta Army is discovered in China, ABBA wins the Eurovision Song Contest with Waterloo, and US President Richard Nixon resigns due to the Watergate affair. And it is also the year in which Volkswagen presents the first Golf, the successor to the Beetle. This one was a best-selling car and is among the world's 3 best-selling models. The 3 best-selling models. That's insane. And through all those years, it has evolved in so many ways. Named after the Gulfstream, the German for Gulfstream. Yes, that. Take a shot every time I say Golf, and you might not be capable of getting to the end of the story. The MK1 Golf first appeared in that same year, when the hatchback genre itself was still a little baby. Look at it, cutie little guy. The Golf was arguably the car that turned the sector into the colossal market it is today. 46 years later, we've arrived at the 8th generation model. This is how VW turned a humble hatchback to an icon. They displayed the first generation Golf as a cutting-edge front-wheel drive, long-range substitution for the Beetle. Fascinating at the time. These series included varieties like the Golf GTI, which had a motor capacity of 110 meters per hour. Pretty fast for those years. Everyone must have been like, is that Flash? What was I saying before that? Oh yeah. Then they had the Jetta Notchback Cantina adaptation. That looks like every creepy guy's car in a movie. Then the Volkswagen Golf Cabriolet, a Golf-based van, and the Volkswagen Caddy. Now, the option between a VW Golf R and its equally impressive GTI siblings depends on being able to take advantage of the R's improvements over a slightly less powerful front-wheel drive hot hatch. And come on, you need to be honest with yourself when choosing between these two, because the price tag puts the R squarely in the territory of sports car. This Q car is arguably the pick of the range, given the extra room and, hello, the amazing looks of course. But this doesn't end here, because next year's Volkswagen Golf R is promising. The more powerful 5th generation Golf R is set to debut in late 2021 as a 2022 model. Just like the GTI, the new Golf R promises more power, more technology, and more performance. I feel like I'm in the premiere of a new Marvel movie or something. The Golf R's discreet look ensures that it will not catch the attention of the large wings and vibrant color schemes. I would have left it with only 2 doors though, for the aesthetics. But that's just my opinion. The last generation of Volkswagen flagship Golf doesn't stray too far from the formula put forth by its predecessors. A powerful turbocharged engine up front, all-wheel drive, and a quick-change dual-clutch automatic gearbox. Driving is directed to all 4 wheels via a choice of 6-speed manual or 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmissions, though the former will be limited editions at launch, at least to North American markets. Volkswagen claims a 0 to 100 km per hour sprint time of 4.7 seconds with an electronically restricted maximum speed of 250 km per hour. The R profits by the equivalent Vehicle Dynamics Manager framework as the lesser GTI, which controls the XDS electronically controlled front-locking differential, DCC versatile dampers, all-wheel drive framework, and other gadget frameworks paired to hone driving elements. European purchasers can alternatively buy another R performance bundle, which speeds up to 270 km per hour. We could say Europeans like going faster than Americans though, and adds 19-inch Hagel's more prominent back spoiler with the last proposed to increment downforce. Did you hear that? That's incredible! Now, the bundle presents 2 new drive modes. Special, which relaxes the versatile dampers to provide food for the undulating surface, empowering the MK8 Golf R to shave 19 seconds off to a period of 7 minutes 51 seconds. In drift mode, rearranges more special rates of the motor's force to the back pivot to break the foothold and empower controlled drifts. Under the skin, the new Golf R sits 20 millimeters lower to the ground than the standard Golf models, thanks to the retuned suspension with 10% stiffer springs, revised control arms and wheel mounts, increased negative front camber, and unique anti-roll bars. Filling the arches are 18-inch alloy wheels, with the aforementioned 19-inch units wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 performance rubber available as an option. Hiding behind the alloys is a set of larger performance brakes, measuring 358mm up front and clamped by 2-piston aluminum calipers. 60% lighter brakes shave 1.2 kilograms of unsprung mass off the car's curb weight, complemented by a further 3 kilograms lost thanks to a more lightweight aluminum subframe. I'm just overwhelmed right now. Let me breathe. There's more about this car than all I just mentioned. Other amazing features include variable sport steering, an optional 7 kilograms lighter Akrapovic exhaust system, and 4 additional drive modes: comfort, sport, individual, and race. It's like having a video game setting inside a car. Like its predecessors, the new Volkswagen Golf R opts for a more reserved take on the hot hatch formula when it comes to styling, and I fell completely in love with the style of this car. Honestly though, just look at it. I can hear it saying, "Hey, I can be yours. Come on, get in. Let's go for a ride." Sorry, I was daydreaming again. It happens all the time. These days, and despite global recession, there is a lot more money in the world, so the elemental nature of the, for example, honest-to-goodness Beetle will seem a little too severe for those who dream of buying, let's say, a Bentley. But, in an almost comic turn of events, Volkswagen now owns Bentley. Yep, see how the tables turned? Never judge a book by its cover. Today I'm just a normal reviewer, but who knows? Maybe tomorrow I could be the next Wolf of Wall Street. However impressive, an elite Bentley can never be a people's car. Few cars since have ever really lived up to the name, one devised by a brilliant bohemian engineer and a brutal Austrian-born German dictator 70 years and more than 20 million air-cooled cars ago. Okay, so going back to the VW Golf R, let me put it like this. I want you to think of sports compacts as if they were potato omelets. Everyone loves a Spanish omelet and asks for it as a skewer when they have breakfast at a bar, right? The basic recipe is well known. Eggs, potatoes, and onion. The Volkswagen Golf R is the most perfected potato omelet recipe currently known, a recipe for all audiences that no one dislikes. The potatoes are cut on a regular basis, the onion aftertaste is there, but you never feel the pieces of the onion, which is what scares the picky Volkswagen fans. To be fair and not feel bad, take roe instead of eggs. It is a juicy and tasty tortilla, but it is not syrupy or liquid inside. It's the perfect omelet. An omelet with much more personality, an omelet that will not be served in a highway service area, an omelet that may not be to everyone's taste, but that will drive those who like it crazy, like me, in case you haven't noticed. The Volkswagen Golf R makes everyone happy, but it is essentially the same car as the Audi S3 or the Cupra Leon. The differences are in presentation and preparation. They are the plate in which the tortilla skewer is presented or the bread used to accompany it. Okay, enough of the food references. I'm hungry now.